Donald Trump posted this. The Islamic Republic of Iran shot at least 4 one-way attack drones at ships transversing the Strait of Hormuz. One of the drones solidly hit the upper deck of a large and very expensive cargo carrying ship. Damage was done, but the ship was able to proceed on its way. We knocked down 3 other drones. Obviously, this is a foolish violation of our ceasefire agreement. President Donald J. Trump. So, not hearing anything regarding a potential response, and this has been already a whole day has passed, and we have seen zero response from United States. This is, I mean, I don't know what the Islamic Republic needs to do to violate the agreement. I mean, this is a clear violation of the MOU. Will there be a retaliation from President Trump? Will there not be? And why hasn't there one been so far? So I see already a whole bunch of twos in the chat. So let's go with that.
All right. First comment on this topic, we have Jeffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I think it very much illustrates exactly what a lot of people's observations are, which is that I don't know why there's 2 of me here. Okay, you have to do 2 of me today. Sorry.
It's okay. It's better. It's better. We love 2 of you. We love Jeffrey so much. 2 of you, the better. The more of you, the better.
Especially Jew haters' mom. Well, I retire over that. So, I mean, on a more serious note, it illustrates a couple of challenges regarding even having a operational pause, considering what's going on. Right, you have a hostile and dishonest regime, actor that is the Mullah regime remnants. It is very much fragmented in a lot of ways, still to this day. I mean, it's not a unified, homogenized entity by any means. And how do you ensure even that the whatever the agreements are, because both sides are contesting, right? That's what they said. Continue. How do you ensure that they're adhered to? I mean, ultimately, it points to what I and a lot of other hawks in kind of sketch talked about this on this show with you. You can't trust the Mullah regime. Right. So while we may have to do an operational pause for critical munitions and logistical issues and more, to be able to juggle things geopolitically, geostrategically, because of all these other trends, there's actually talked about like a lot in the news today, right? And Fox and MSNBC and ABC and the rest of them. Yeah. Like, Peter Zehan, who he's a pretty decent geopolitical analyst. It gets colored through his TDS, which is really shitty. And it kind of undermines the accuracy of it. Yeah, we spent a lot of long-range critical munitions to strike the Mullah regime. We had to because they were a unique threat, given the combination of the fact that they're pseudo-theologically motivated actors, meaning they frame their position metaphysically, the 12th Imam, and all this other insane, crazy shit. And it operationalized, or it illustrated itself in slaughtering 100,000 kids in 2 days. And they were very close to launching in mass solid fuel ballistic missiles and drones against U.S. bases, Israeli and Gulf state allies. So we had to hit them. That said, because certain member states of NATO, read the Western NATO, member states, UK, France, the rest of them, they denied our use of our heavy aircraft. And we had to use a lot of, I'm going somewhere with this, a lot of our critical strike munitions, right? That's long range Tomahawks, like defensive munitions. So there's things we got to juggle, right? And everybody knows that's the reason for the operational pause, or the main logistical reason anyway. And so the Mullah regime remnants is trying to poke and prod and see what they can get away with. I think Sketch is very much right on the money with how things are being felt in the administration, those that have ties to Donald, which, I just went to that event yesterday. If they keep fucking around, they're going to find out. And that'll be the end, right? So I think that's what it shows. It shows that ultimately having the regime remnants being adherent to any agreement that they sign is very low. That probability is very low. And we're probably going to have to eliminate the regime regardless because they don't adhere to anything. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's next?
I would like to just point out Potito is here with us. So I just want to shout out Potito. Love you, homie. Glad you're here.
Oh,
Next
hey.
is, want to say hi, Armin?
No, just sorry,
I
I
think-
interrupted you. Yeah, hi, Petito. Thank
Okay.
you for being here. Petito.
On the
So
side,
guys,
tell us if you're in good health because we all want to know. Just write it out on the
Yeah.
bottom. Okay, next on this topic is Jose.
Okay, I'm looking at this based on the previous ceasefire, and it took a lot to get anyone to actually respond into that second little 2-day round. The fact that if we're talking about yesterday's attack, right, Harmon?
Say that again.
It was yesterday's attack, right?
Yes.
This is not a new one. Yesterday's, okay.
Yeah.
The missile either misfired or just hit but didn't explode, so it wasn't armed. That is weird to begin with. No loss of life, just a slight damage to the ship, from what I understood. Maybe it's going to take a loss of life and a large loss of life to get Trump to trigger again. You know, that's what I'm thinking. That is damage to a ship. Okay, was it an allied ship? Was it? I mean, we really have very little information that I've heard on it. That's all.
But I mean, we got a confirmation from President Trump that the MOU has been violated. I think a lot of people are just angry that from the American side, the blockade was removed, but from the Islamic Republic side, they're still closing they're still doing whatever they can to close the Strait of Hormuz. To be fair though, it's not having an impact on oil prices. I mean, not that much, at least, just a little bit. Oil prices are $72. Oh my God. This is fantastic. I mean, this is like, so the Americans, we were like, meh, we're okay. I mean, you tried and not much happened on the price of oil. So it looks bad because they're like, the Americans, why is it that the Islamic Republic is doing all of this and the United States is not responding? But if the United States' main concern is the price of oil, this for some reason had very, very minimum impact, or not at all, actually. Yeah, not at all. Never mind. Keeps dropping. Oil prices keep dropping for some reason. Yeah. All right.
I was going to point out something that I said in the show with you was that usually if he makes a statement, the statement includes an action taken. Because there isn't an action taken, that makes me think there may be an upcoming action. They might be looking at where that came from. We're not sure yet. I'd give it 24 hours. I'd give it 24 hours to see if there's going to be a retaliation. I wouldn't, well, 24 hours from now, which would be like 48 hours, we may be looking at some intel to find out where that came from. Because as I understand it, it came into the Oman side, so that's pretty far to like figure out exactly where it came from. But I would imagine that they have satellite imaging that they have to go through to scroll through and see. These are small objects, but an American satellite, you can look at your watch and they can see the time. So they can find it. It just takes a little time to trace back to where it was, and that might be something that's going on. There might not be this is just one possibility. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, just putting it out there. Next on this topic, we have Raham.
Hey everyone, hear me okay today?
Yeah, I mean, your audio quality is low as usual, but we understand it. Thank you. Though.
Is that better now?
It's fine. It's
Just
fine.
yell a little bit. Okay.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I've tried so many configurations, but I'm wondering if one of the unwritten parts of the MOU from Trump to Ghalibaf was, hey, Ghalibaf to Trump was, hey, I'm pretty sure the IRGC is going to try and screw this up for us by attacking ships in the Strait to try and get the oil prices up, but I will deal with it. Please don't do anything. So I'm wondering if Trump is kind of waiting for Ghalibaf or somebody that he's been dealing with in that side to try and get this sorted out because the IRGC doesn't really seem like, or parts of them don't really seem on board with this deal, so they're trying to sabotage it. So I think maybe that's why Trump has not done anything yet, but I'm wondering how much it's going to take before he does. So perhaps that's why he hasn't done anything, because he's waiting for the regime itself to respond to it. Makes sense.
Okay, so by the way, every time we say your audio is bad, the closer you get to the microphone, the worse it gets, right? So also please fix your mic if you can, because so that we get better audio next time. So I do think, by the way, let me close your mic. When you're not speaking, also please close your mic. I hear a lot of background noise from you. Okay, thank you. So we have, I mean, I do think it's possible that President Trump has this understanding that Ghalibaf can only do so much when it comes to controlling IRGC. And as long as the attacks on the commercial ships are not affecting the shipments, I mean, there was a massive drop in the shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. There was a massive drop, but then but it had no impact on oil prices. So I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a good reason for it. I don't know what that reason is. And again, it's given how much people, I mean, I showed you videos on the live show of different parts of IRGC coming out and saying basically, yeah, fuck Ghalibaf, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz ourselves. Like the suits in Washington, D.C. and Tehran will not decide whether the Strait of Hormuz would be open. You guys remember that video I played for you from the IRGC Navy right next to the Strait of Hormuz? He came out and said, that, you know, yeah, it's not the suits in Washington, D.C. and Tehran who decide whether the Strait of Hormuz is open. It's we, the army people, who are guarding the Strait of Hormuz in this heat every day and night. We decide whether or not the Strait of Hormuz is open. So honestly, it's actually, if you think about it, it's actually amazing that we don't have more attacks on commercial ships. Like we got like this is very small. I mean, it's really easy to defy Ghalibaf. There's so many places within Iran that you could throw drones at use to, you know, throw drones at commercial ships from, right? And honestly, even if you have 90% of the IRGC under your, even if you have 95% of the IRGC under your control, how are you going to go and hunt down every single person within the IRGC that wants to just use a drone? Honestly, you don't even need to be IRGC. You could be like a jihadi anti-deal, anti-negotiation, anti-MOU person from the Islamic Republic who just like knows somebody that could arrange some drones for you and then get the drones to go towards the commercial ships. Like, is again, hunting all of these people down and stopping every single one of them is going to be an impossible task. So I think that's, if Trump is looking at the oil prices and if he sees like they're low enough, he's going to be like, yeah, we're okay. That's not a big deal. That's why I think he's like not getting, he might not be getting involved. But I mean, I can see the reasons why he might not get involved, but you have to also admit that it doesn't look like propaganda wise Islamic Republic could benefit from this. They opened their blockade. We haven't let go control of the Strait of Hormuz, and they can't do anything about it. So if I was the Islamic Republic, so if I was trying to kind of tell all of these anti-deal, anti-negotiations, pro-regime Iranians that look, we're winning, I would basically post to President Trump's post right now and be like, look, he's actually officially saying that we violated the ceasefire, but he's not doing anything about it. He's not threatening us like he used to. He used to say like, oh, we're going to end the civilization. Everybody's going to die. But now he's just posting that, yeah, the ceasefire has been violated, and he's not doing anything about it. They could use this, the Islamic Republic could use this as a propaganda tool to say that shows the strength of the Islamic Republic because the superpower of the world removed the blockade. We didn't remove our blockade, and we're getting away with it, and they can't do anything about it. So this will, as much as I understand why President Trump might be like, yeah, if this is not that big of a deal, I'm not gonna respond. It is a propaganda win for the Islamic Republic. I mean, if they're smart about it, they could use it as a propaganda win.
I would like to point out that the sad thing about the microphone is that you have good questions, you have good comments, but the microphone gets in the ways of that. So we want you to participate more. You told me you were on wireless, perhaps treat it like a phone, just disconnect the wireless when you're going to talk and speak what you're going to say, then mute yourself. That might work better just for next time. And we appreciate you being here. Want you to know that. All right, next on the list, we have Samantha.
Dude. So keep in mind, I'm saying this as someone who genuinely wants to return to war and to military action ASAP. That being said, there is no way in hell that this is going to be the thing that brings us back to war and to military action. If the ship had been a US ship instead of a Singapore ship, there would still be no way in hell that this would bring us back to like military action into war. If tomorrow the Islamic Republic threw a bunch of ballistic missiles at Saudi and Israel and destroyed Riyadh International Airport and Ben Gurion International Airport, there would still be no way in hell that would bring us back to military action. I want to go to military action, but Trump does not want to go back. Literally, I think anything shy of that, not, oh, they're about to have a nuke. I mean, like, they actually have nuclear weapons and are detonating nuclear weapons, or something along the lines of they are refusing to stop firing at U.S. assets. And by stop firing at U.S. assets, I don't mean, oh, okay, they fire at some U.S. assets and say, well, we didn't like J.D. Vance's tweet, so we did this in response to J.D. Vance's tweet. I mean, like, they're firing and they're not stopping, and they're insisting that they're not going to stop until those military assets are gone. Or something along the lines of, them firing at Europe. And by firing at Europe, I don't mean Diego Garcia Island. I mean, like, ballistic missiles are hitting, like, Southampton. It's going to take something along that to bring us potentially back to war. Like, I don't even know if tomorrow they were to throw missiles into the middle of, like, Paris, if that would necessarily bring us back to war. It might, but I don't know it would. And certainly, missiles at Diego Garcia Island is not going to do it. Destroying Riyadh International Airport and Ben Gurion International Airport is not going to do it. Throwing missiles.
Oh,
your audio is cutting for us. I think, can you hear us? I think we get the message. You think it's going to take a lot? I agree. I actually agree with her.
Silly, I guess. I do it.
Oh, you're back. Okay. I think you're having a little bit of audio issues. I agree with you. I don't agree that they will go that far, but I don't think that this attack was gonna lead to that because of the proportionality.
okay. But what about a love? Like, we wanted at least a love tap, just a tiny love tap. Is that too much to ask? Like, I know President Trump doesn't want to go to full on head-to-head military operations or like anything like that, but to go completely, for this to go completely without a response, just a tiny, like, just blow up something, at least just a tiny, like, just a radar system, or I don't know, a boat,
A little spank on the butt.
yeah, a spank on the butt, like, or like take out a boat, just one, a boat, like a tiny little boat, something like that.
The nature of the attack was drones. So I think, and it was pretty far from where they would be launched. They could be tracing it back. So don't give up hope on a tap. Maybe you will get a tap. Well, don't give up on it. I say give it another 24 hours. If it doesn't happen, I'd say it's not gonna.
Okay.
Next on this topic, we have Yuval.
Yes, from the last time I spoke, that my audio is very bad, so I will speak slowly to be clear.
Your audio is very
regarding.
good.
Is it? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So regarding saying, oh, the suits are not going to determine to us, so Kalibaf and his lot actually don't control the guys in the boat. One has to make a decision. Either Kalibaf and his lot represent a sovereign government or they don't. If they do, they are accountable. If they don't, why do you negotiate with them? Because if they're not sovereign, they cannot deliver. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, it's the boats, but that's not Khalibaf. These are other people that Khalibaf does not control. But at the same time, you're going to say, I'm going to negotiate with Khalibaf. If you cannot control, don't negotiate with him. That's my 2 cents on the issue.
Okay, the problem is that he might not control everybody, but but he has the most control right now. And if you don't want to negotiate with Ghalibaf, there is like no one else. Like nobody else right now has as much control. So basically, it's either Ghalibaf or full military operations. And apparently, President Trump doesn't want to do that right now. So you have to do Ghalibaf.
This was what we talked about.
Yeah, but that is like that. Can I respond, Mod, or do you want to move on to other twos?
No.
I was just going to comment that there's 32 commanders and maybe one of them is going rogue. Don't know.
Okay, like go ahead.
My expectation would be that a sovereign government will take care of its rogues. It's like saying, you know, my grocer brings sometimes bad milk, but I'm gonna stick with this grocer because there's no other one around. But you're going to ruin your health if you keep sticking with the grocer and drink its bad milk. You're going to ruin your health. So that's what's going to happen here. He's the only guy, but he cannot deliver. You're not going to get a good agreement.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Next on this topic, we have Halda. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think that we, America, will not do anything. I think that we are going to have to be pushed into a corner before our current administration will respond, especially before the midterms, because we've got too many politicians that are too concerned with, you know, the midterms. And I also think that the IRGC, the regime, is very well aware of this. And I think that they're strategically testing our boundaries. And so we're going to continue to see this type of behavior from them because they have got convenient excuses of, oh, you know, sorry, that was a rogue. We didn't have, you know, control. And I think that they are using this as a learning exercise to be prepared for the future. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Good points there. I will have a question for Jeff. Next one is Jeff. I had a little question for him. Maybe he can answer it at the beginning. We're making some kind of escrow account and some legal framework around it. Now, if Ghalibaf can't keep control and we're making some kind of structure and infrastructure for any economics around Iran, how does this look if, like, hey, we're going to have to declare an outside government because he can't, no matter what he signs, he can't make everybody obey it. So this is not a government in power. This is not a government that can control anything. Maybe just something short on that, aside from anything else you were going to say? Declare a government in exile?
So one of the things that me and a lot of other guys were pushing was recognizing His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi's headed up transitionary government as the official government in exile, and that allows you to have an official body, an internationally recognized body, national and international recognized body. Then you can then do things like that. Like, who gets the money? Well, the escrow, at least, is the one I kind of pushed for. I mean, I have to look at the one you're asking about now. Was if we're going to liberate oil that the IRGC remnants is transferring, right? It's not like we're just stealing the oil. I'm not trying to rob Iran. Neither is this administration. It's how do we make sure that we're good stewards over the resources we have physical control over to the benefit of the Iranian people, right? In a manner that primarily denies those resources to the Mullah regime remnants. As far as like the pause, that almost the number one reason for that is logistics. You know, it's not like this administration, he like Donald likes the mullahs. He killed 13,000 of them. Like he destroyed 13,000 targets. You know, when you help play a role in splattering the Ayatollah all on the inside of his underground bunker, that's a pretty big exclamation point on a fuck you. You know, it's not like there's really any gray area in that message. As far as like where we're doing now, you talked about it on Armin Show, much because of like what was discussed here. There are things we have to juggle. Putin is getting ready to pounce on like Romania. We have the Chi-Coms getting ready to hit Taiwan. Both of those assholes played a role in backfilling the Mullah regime with the goal of bleeding us out of critical long-range offensive strike munitions and defensive munitions. The administration just initiated an executive order to build out our national defense industrial base, a crash program that hasn't been used since the Second World War. A high-intensity world war is coming. We're in the opening stages of it. We were always going to hit the Mullah regime. I showed that to Ali Arman on the off show, right? April, before even the 12-day war. We knew that. We knew we'd had to do it. As far as like why we're taking the positions we are, I mean, so it's kind of like people keep hammering this home because they want to do the fuck Donald bit. Like, well, are you going to admit then if you sit there and say it's operational, then that means you're going to have to unzip your fly. America's not the hyperpower anymore. How do you like that? I don't. Stop trying to, you know, reiterate the points that this administration is trying to operate within for partisan political points. You know, like Donald doesn't like the mullahs. I promise you. It's just these are certain things we got to deal with. We got betrayed by elements of NATO. There's a reason that not Starmer, what's his name? The head of NATO, forgive me, it's been a long week for Uncle Jeff. You know, I very much love the head of NATO. There's a reason he visited the White House. There's a reason he had a discussion with Secretary of State and all the other hats he wears, Rubio. And that doesn't mean that all of NATO is bad. They're not. Poland had our back. Romania had our back. Greece had our back. Baltic states had our back. Nordic states had our back. It's just four elements that, you know, four member states that because they were the recipient of Soviet active measures, and that's had an impact on their socio-cultural, demographic, and subsequent political environment. They're fucking not, that manifested itself in a way to fuck our efforts in, you know, expediting the liberation of Iran. So, I mean, those are real issues. I hate having to constantly fucking say this every day. Members of CENTCOM have said it. Like our Joint Chiefs have said it. Any number of retired generals, the ones you played on your show, Armin, they mentioned that a couple of times. General Keane and General Kellogg. They're not like giggling in a smoking jacket. That's real stuff. There's a reason that me and others are pushing very hard for things like mass production of attritable long-range, you know, drones and producing direct energy at scale. Like I played a role in that. I wrote policies on that, including with Golden Dome. You know, there's a reason we're doing that. This isn't make-believe. This isn't War of the Worlds. You know, like that's real stuff. Tragically, you know, that means that there's casualties in those decisions. It's not that we like them. That's real stuff anyway. I mean, the escrow thing, I would contend that we're trying to find the best way to make sure that whatever money and resources is being used to leverage this operational pause, we minimize the utility to the Mullah regime remnants to reconstitute their capability, which they're going to do. They're going to try every which way under the sun. And maximize the ability to ensure that that money is saved or helps Iranian people. And that's not an easy row to hoe. This isn't the same as Obama's JCPOA. Obama had an easy path to take out the mullahs when he did. He chose not to. Trump had a very hard path to strike the mullahs and chose to.
All right. Monkey?
All right. I think with that, we're closing out the topic. Last words I would say on that is basically we are. My belief on this escrow is an escrow is something you do when like, hey, I'm keeping your money. You know, I'm keeping it in my pocket. My pocket it's a special pocket, got your name on it, but your money's coming in my pocket. It's over here, it's a separate pocket in my pants, but I got your money. I'm gonna control it, and we'll see if you get it. We'll see who gets it. It belongs to the people there. Or maybe IRGC won't get it. Maybe somebody else will get it. I believe this may be the legal framework under which something else is underwritten, because this. Why? Why would we do all this? Why would we have an escrow? Why? You understand what I'm saying? We want to control that money. We want to start everything we're confiscating, everything that we have, every money, every account that we're confiscating. We're trying to grab it all and put it in one place. This is my theory on this. I'm not an expert on banking, but I believe I think that's one of the steps that we're taking when what happened in Libya and Syria, when there were other governments in exile declared, this was one of the steps. Having an escrow account, having the funds that are frozen being given to the governments in exile. I think it's a point to take into consideration. No expert on that. Just putting it out there for the group to think about it, maybe mull it over. Anybody that knows anybody, maybe bring it back tomorrow and we can talk about it.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.